Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Farzy Show. My name is Marc Farzetta here at the Steven Singer Studios. Very excited to talk to you today. A couple of things. I referenced the other day that the Flyers start on Friday, which is today, and we weren't going to get to talk about the Flyers. Here's a comparison for you that involves the Eagles, and my mind started to wander, and I even tweeted this out last night during the game. When I was watching Leonard Fournette just have guys bounce off him left and right. Like it looked like he would dipped himself in olive oil, or like they used to spray Pam on guys in the 80s. They would do that, right? And that way you could slip off the tackle and everything. But I'm watching Alex Singleton slip off him. I'm watching Davion Taylor slip off of him. I'm watching these guys just bounce off him left and right. I watched Jannard Avery get a taunting penalty to try to get him down and all that stuff. I'm watching that throughout the game. And you know what? I had this thought. That I remember reading the stories and seeing the documentaries and listening to the players talk about it from the 1970s Flyers. And we all know the story. If you don't, you should. Of Ed Snyder watching the Flyers get the absolute crap beat out of him by the St. Louis Blues and thinking to himself and then saying out loud, that's not going to happen again. And then he started adding the bullies. He started putting the Broad Street Bullies together. And then next thing you know, they won 2 Stanley Cups. And you know what? Good for Ed Snyder. I wish there was more of that. As a Flyers fan, I wish there was more of the Stanley Cup stuff. But maybe, just maybe, as my mind was wandering last night, maybe maybe Jeffrey Lurie is watching that game last night against Tampa Bay Buccaneers and watching his linebackers attempt to tackle Leonard Fournette, and he's thinking, never again. And maybe he'll actually go out and actually acquire linebackers. Maybe he'll tell Howie Roseman, Howie, maybe now's a good time. Maybe we should start doing that. Because the Super Bowl, I think, and I've said this before, the baseline for linebackers, without a question, is like Nigel Bradham and Michael Kendricks. Like, that's like as low as you go. Right there's like a nice level to be at. This is not. And I love Alex Singleton, and I love how hard he works. And I think can be a good outside linebacker in this league, right? I think he can be good at that. But when he's your guy, when he's your number one guy, that's asking him a little too much. Let's not get crazy there, okay? And when you watch this team from a mental approach standpoint of this game, and you continue to see bad penalties. No better example than the Jannard Avery penalty. I didn't necessarily agree with it. I thought Leonard Fournette was going throughout this entire game, jawing with Alex Singleton, Davion Taylor, and pretty much anyone that eventually brought him down. So I thought that was just a dumb penalty. You can't take that penalty. You got to be buttoned up, Jannard Avery. But it was a hell of a time for the referees to get involved in that game. But let's get to the thing that I think rubbed everybody the wrong way, which was the run game again, or lack thereof. This shouldn't be that difficult if you're Nick Sirianni. And as per usual, after a game, I always take you into the locker room, or this time the press conferences, because no one's allowed in the locker room. But we'll let you hear from Nick Sirianni, and then we'll let you hear an extremely damning thing from Jordan Mailata on the coaching staff. Jordan Mailata might be just one of those guys that's so nice he doesn't think that anyone can take anything that he says and go, oh, that's harsh. Like, I think he just might be one of those people. But this shouldn't be that difficult. How, as a head coach and play caller in the NFL, how do you not see how much your quarterback is struggling throughout the first half and think to yourself, let me take some pressure off him. Let me hand the ball to a running back and let him just run the ball. How does that only happen one time? And I believe even that one time, it was an RPO still. How do you watch a quarterback complete only 35% of his passes, by the way, which he did in the first half, and your takeaway, according to Christina Pink, who was interviewing you as you trotted off the field, your takeaway was, we got to get more passes. Like, how is that possible? I'll say it again. I know I've said it a million times. I have never seen a coach ignore the run the way Nick Sirianni ignores the run. Andy Reid abandoned it. Doug Peterson abandoned it. I have never seen a coach just flat out ignore it. What was it, 5 touches or a running back in the first half of the game over the last 3 games? Are you serious? That's bonkers. That's like fireable. Unless you're doing it because the people that hired you want to do that. And that really is the problem. Look, after every single game, folks, we could talk about Howie Roseman. We could talk about Jeffrey Lurie. But, after a while, when they're not going anywhere, it kind of makes you bang your head against the wall. If Nick Sirianni is an utter failure this year, and this team completely crashes and burns, and you do go into that next round, right, with you're not going to give Howie Roseman another head coach to hire, right? But if you're going to go through that whole process and you're going to be terrible this year, and you go into an offseason where you win maybe 4 games, 5 games, and Nick Sirianni looks this bad throughout the season, how do you bring him back next year? How does that happen? Like one run with Miles Sanders in the first half, and we've been through this again. And he says, I got to self-evaluate. I got to watch the film, and I got to be better. Okay, we're still waiting. Still waiting for you to learn what you're supposed to be doing here. And you learn the job, apparently it's pretty tough. So watching him and kind of getting an understanding of what he is doing as a head coach, or at least trying to, you just can't wrap your head around it because it doesn't make any damn sense. So if this is what Jeffrey Lurie wants, and this is what I always go back to, and I'll go back to this point, we can always talk about what the head coach and what the ownership and what Howie Roseman's doing. But that just makes you bang your head against the wall because they're not going anywhere. But maybe this is what they want. But the team that Howie Roseman has assembled, the team that Jeffrey Lurie has approved, the game plan that he has influence on, like it or not, that is disturbing. And I even tweeted this out yesterday, and I went back to this article by Bo Wolf, Shil Kapadia, and Zach Berman about how Doug Peterson would get peppered with questions after every loss and every win. Every single game, he had meetings with the owner. I think it was Tuesdays, the Tuesday moratorium, I think they referred to it in the article. And the particular game that they were talking about in this article was a game on Thursday night in 2019 at Lambeau Field against the Packers. And it was the game that the Eagles came back on the Packers and won 34-27, if I'm not mistaken, because they started really running the ball in the second half. And apparently that didn't sit well with Jeffrey Lurie, who, as the article points out, is analytics-based, and he's all about, passing and why were you running the ball. So his thing after the game was, why did you run the ball so much? And apparently he had a problem with that, even though it was working. And I can't tell you how I think it's just such an obvious thing that for a coach in the NFL, a guy that's been in the NFL as long as Nick Sirianni has, to just completely ignore any type of ground game is insane to me. And even put in the RPO the way they do, and you'll hear him talk about it as he did in postgame yesterday, it's malpractice. It's the ultimate sign of a yes man. Oh, yeah, is that what you want to do? We're going to do it. Because whenever they have conversations, and let's not forget, they don't have those Tuesday meetings, scheduled meetings or anything like that. You know why? Because Jeffrey Lurie's there at practice. They don't need. And look, I have no problem with an owner being there at practice. You own the team. Have your fun. But as far as game plan influence and not letting your coach just do his job, that's got to go. So this is the rare occasion where I will bang my head against the wall simply because I understand that you have an owner and you have a general manager who have heavy influence on your game plan, your game day decisions. This is the one game I can look at and go, look at those linebackers. They ain't it. Look at this play calling. That sure as hell ain't it. And I know a lot of people out there will say, oh, what about giving up the play calling? Okay. So you're going to have a head coach. Let me just be this straight. This head coach is being hired probably during the interview process saying, I'm going to be hired because I'm going to call plays. And then all of a sudden, 6 games in, oh, I can't call plays. That's crazy. I understand acknowledging a mistake if you're the head coach, but I don't think anyone's doing it that quick. And if you do that, what are you going to give it to Shane Steichen? What experience does he have doing it? And isn't he a guy that was brought in by Nick Sirianni? The only other person that I really would have confidence in calling plays in this offense is Jim Bob Cooter for 2 reasons. 1, awesome name. 2, He's got experience calling plays in the NFL at the NFL level. And if you remember, we can always go back to this. We mentioned it weeks ago. He was the guy that was calling plays for the Detroit Lions when the Eagles got the brakes beat off them by the Lions and Megatron, by the way, so that didn't hurt, on Thanksgiving a couple of years back. That's really the only other guy. But is he even going to be having? Is he going to have the influence that Jeffrey Lurie would have over him? Is he going to have the pull over Jeff Lurie? No, of course not. This guy's right now is a consultant. If he was that good, someone would have hired him as a coordinator and play caller already, right? I can't get over this. It's the easiest thing in the world. To me, it comes down to, if you want analytics, you don't even need to go that far into analytics. How about just some good old-fashioned, real easy research here? 35% of your passes, that guy's struggling. You see him miss Zach Ertz on the third down, that guy's struggling. You see him underthrow a ball drastically to Jalen Reagor, that guy's having some problems. You see him overthrow a ball on an out route to Devontae Smith, that guy's having some trouble. Maybe run the football. See how that goes. Doesn't seem like it's really that hard. Doesn't seem like I really need to go deep into numbers there and go through the deep dive of the analytics. Just watch the game. That doesn't look right. Let me get them settled. Let's run the football a little bit. Let me take a load off my offensive line. Let me take a load off my defense as well by controlling some of the clock. Opted not to do that until much later in the game. Doesn't make any damn sense. And I was following a lot of your comments on Twitter last night, throughout social media. I was listening to the crowd. Oh, my goodness. When was it? In the third quarter? Third quarter, they come out and they hand the ball to Miles Sanders, and there was an ovation. And I'm literally writing down that they ran the play, and I heard the ovation as I'm looking down to right, and I go, did he break a tackle or something? Was he not down? Because I thought he broke a tackle and scored or something. No, it was just they ran the ball. That's the ovation. And you know what? I'm just going to ignore for a second what Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were saying through most of the game. Because at one point they said, hey, these Eagles fans are smart. And I was like, I just want to stop them there. Just stop it right there, fellas. These Eagles fans are smart. You're damn right they're smart. They're not asking. Here's the thing. I feel like talking about running the football has become Ben Simmons shooting three-pointers. Like, that's where I feel like it's going. Like, if you talk, not even him shooting three-pointers, just him shooting. Like, if you say you want Ben Simmons to have a mid-range game, people are like, this guy wants him shooting three-pointers over here. Nobody said that. Nobody said that. I want the Eagles to run the ball. Oh, this guy over here wants the Eagles to run the ball 50% of the time, every time, no matter what. Not saying that. I'm saying help out your quarterback. Help out your offensive line that's still coming together. Run blocking is easier than pass blocking. The only human that ever thought different was that Trey Thomas guy that inducted at Hall of Fame last night, which I couldn't be happier for my man. That's it. And when he was on the show a couple of weeks ago, I even asked him about that. And I said, you're like the only person that wanted to do pass blocking instead of run blocking. He's like, yeah, pretty much. It's easier, especially if you're a younger guy, especially if you're Jack Driscoll, especially if you're Landon Dickerson, especially if you're Jordan Mailata learning to play on the right side of the line of scrimmage again. And then you're also Andre Dillard, and you're still trying to play left tackle in the NFL. Help him out a little bit there, Nick. Call a couple of run plays. See if you can get Miles Sanders on the outside. Not everything has to be between the tackles, And also, not everything has to be in the shotgun. You could mix that up a little bit, too. Apparently, they don't want to do that. I can't get over it. I am so beside myself with how abysmal the start to that game was. And you can say, they fought back. It was a 6-point game. Good for them. Yeah, but I saw a lot of the same problems that I've been seeing in a lot of these losses. And you know one thing I will say that was positive? When the Eagles went against the Chiefs, all I thought, and I even said it, hey, Jonathan Gannon, have your defense not be the worst defense that the Kansas City Chiefs face. Just don't be the worst. Hey, Jonathan Gannon, don't be the worst defense that the Dallas Cowboys faced. And they were the worst. Same thing with the Chiefs. Early on in this game, when the Eagles were down 21-17, I said the same thing. Hey, Jonathan Gannon, don't be the worst this time around. And from that point on, they only allowed 7 more points. So they made the adjustment. Whatever it was they did, whatever it was the Buccaneers taking the foot off the gas, whatever you want to call it, it was certainly the Eagles doing something that made that Bucs offense halt for a minute or two. Whether it was forcing them to get off the field on third downs, whatever it was, good on them. The Bucs late in that game going for that 4th and 2 when they could have just buried the Eagles in the back of the in their own field. That's just bonkers to me as well. I have no idea why they didn't do that. Eagles made them pay for it 100 times over in terms of just getting 8 points on that ensuing drive. But, man, I can't believe that they did that. That was just dumb. But overall, how do you continuously watch the same mistakes from this Eagles team and then listen to Nick Sirianni come out after the game and say, yeah, we got to do better. We got to be in better position. We got to make plays. Blah, blah. Like, okay, well, so what are you really doing then? If you continue to see the same thing over and over again, if you continue to not help out your quarterback, you continue to see bad penalties as well, like the Jannard Avery play, then what the hell? Like, what are you doing? This is a huge test. The next 10 days here are a huge line of demarcation for Nick Sirianni and the Nick Sirianni coaching era in Philadelphia. He said earlier in the week that he's going to go through this week and get ready for the Bucs as much as he can because it's a short week. And then after that, he's going to go through the self-evaluation process. Even more so than he normally would because he's got 10 days between games. They play the 24th. They go out to Las Vegas to play the Raiders, who are in turmoil right now. So Nick Sirianni is going to be looking in the mirror for the next 10 days, evaluating his performance as a head coach and play caller. Play caller probably more than anything else. And he's going to come out of that with what? RPOs, they're like runs. Screens, they're just like runs. Is that what he's going to come away with? Or is he going to come away with, let me get under center a little bit for Jalen Hurts. Let me just have him turn around and hand the ball to a running back with a full head of steam and see where that goes. I don't know. Some basic football stuff that might help out everybody. Just some thoughts I've had. I know you guys have had them as well. I thought Zach Ertz played well last night with no Dallas Goedert. He was the premier tight end, so that was fun. I think Devontae Smith is a wildly talented wide receiver. You actually saw a wide receiver run a proper rub route without drawing a penalty. So, hey, that was cool. And Zach Ertz got the touchdown on that play. So that was nice. We talked about the linebackers already. Like, I feel like this team is in a hopeless state right now. And I don't know what brings them out of it. I don't have confidence in Nick Sirianni self-evaluating for 10 days and then coming out some better coach and play caller. I'm at a loss when it comes to this team. And really because, again, I'll acknowledge it. It goes well beyond the head coach. It comes to an overall philosophy. Don't need linebackers. Don't need to run the ball. That's really what it comes down to. And that just seems insanely unfortunate. The other part of this, it comes down to Sirianni. It comes down to Jalen Hurts as well. So who's more to blame for why this team isn't functioning at a higher level? Jalen Hurts struggled in this game. I mentioned already the throws that he missed. And we had talked about it earlier in the week with Dave Zangaro when we talked about how harshly this guy is going to be graded, because it's not just about this season. It's about whether or not he can be the guy going forward and whether or not he can compete against 3 first-round picks, potentially 3 first-round picks. A couple of them are going to be pretty high picks, by the way, when it comes to what they could get for those picks in the draft right there, or they could trade those picks to get a quarterback in here. So that's what Jalen Hurts is competing against. Watching him throw the ball earlier was very disheartening in this game. But again, it comes down to who are you worried about more? Who's more to blame for the failures of this offense? Is it the quarterback or is it the coaching? I'm still a lot more worried about Nick Sirianni and whether or not he could be an NFL head coach and play caller. A lot more than I'm worried about Jalen Hurts and whether or not he could be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I got no doubt that he has earned that right and he could be a starting quarterback. He is a starting quarterback. He has been good as your starting quarterback. The guy that I am 1,000 times more worried about when it comes to the two is Nick Sirianni. And you saw adjustments in this game, really for the second half of the game, from the defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, and his defense stepping up and actually making plays. You didn't really see that with the offense until, again, much later. And a lot of it felt like how they performed against the Carolina Panthers, except you're not going to come back on the Bucs like you did on the Panthers. Let's get the obvious out of the way there. But I will say, if you're looking at the most positive thing to take from this game, if you're looking for a positive, I don't know what it is, but this team definitely doesn't quit. And I'm thinking about how young these guys are in some areas, whether it's Jalen Hurts playing for his football life at quarterback right now with this Eagles team, or if it's an offensive line that every one of them, when it comes to Landon Dickerson, it comes to Jordan Mailata, it comes to every one of them, even Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce, I'd never have to worry about him quitting. Not happening. But everybody else on an offensive line trying to prove themselves, yeah, they ain't quitting. And I know you can say Jordan Mailata got paid. Yeah, he's still young, still wants a longer career than just that 4-year contract that he signed. So, yeah, he's playing for his football life too. Those guys aren't quitting. And there's got to be something about either their status in the league, which is probably more what I'd go to, or it's got to go to Nick Sirianni. Whatever it is he's doing, these guys ain't quitting. Also comes, like I said, Jalen Hurts. Miles Sanders, how the hell are you not flipping tables over by not getting touches, not getting carries? There's something keeping it together. I don't know what it is yet. I'd like to think it's the head coach. The one thing he's doing that's probably great, if that's the only thing I can look at. Let's see. Keep a team together from freaking out and hold them from freaking out wearing Philadelphia sports team hoodies. Those are two things that he's been doing great, I guess. Look, I didn't have high expectations going into this season. They were higher than other people's, but I just can't get over what I'm watching with this football team and how easy it is. How easy it is to try something else, and they just won't do it. And if they do try to incorporate something a little bit different and it works, they still start out the next game stupid. Like if they come out against the Raiders and they're, again, one carry in the first half by a running back, like what do you do with that team? Like, can Jeffrey Lurie actually go in there and be like, okay, hey, look, I understand you're doing a great job passing. I like that you're passing. The passes are great. Let's get 5. Let's go for 5. Let me give you one definitive number. Let's go for 5 run plays. Not RPOs, run plays. Let's go for those. Let's see how that works. You can do it. It's okay. I won't get mad at you. And we'll see where that goes. See if there's anything else I wanted to get into there. Not really. Just this team sucks. So anyway, let me tell you about my good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Ladies and gentlemen, do what I do. Trust Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers every time. You get it at the perfect price. Every piece of jewelry, the perfect price every single time. That's what Steven prides himself on. A couple of things. 1, prides himself on taking care of his customers. 2, making you feel comfortable. And 3, giving you beautiful diamond engagement ring, beautiful piece of jewelry for that special someone in your life. So Steven's not worried about, for 40 plus years being in the love business, he's not worried about whether or not you're getting some, oh, did you catch the sale? Oh, hey, the discount is tomorrow. No, the discount's every day. Because unlike other jewelers, he doesn't mark things way up just to mark it down in front of you to make you feel like you're getting some kind of incredible discount. No, you walk in, you already won. You don't got to negotiate. You don't got to worry about the person next to you, whether or not they're paying less than you. They're getting the perfect price too. That's what he gives every single day because he's in the love business, people. So he wants you to feel the love at the other corner of 8th and Walnut. So do what I do. Trust Steven Singer. He's a jeweler you can trust. I trust him for all my big jewelry purchases. Believe me, my family, my friends, I all send to Steven Singer. All of them send to Steven Singer. That's why I'm sending you there too. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, online at IHateStevenSinger.com. IHateStevenSinger.com. One place, one price. The perfect price every single time. Always fast and free shipping as well at IHateStevenSinger.com. All right, let's jump into the Rothman Orthopaedics locker room check-in. A lot of interesting things, a lot of interesting nuggets here that just make me want to go, I don't believe you. The first one is when he was asked to run the ball a little bit more. Here is your head coach and play caller, Nick Sirianni.
We're always thinking about that. The couple plays that Miles had today that were long runs, those were RPOs too. But we have to be able to get them touches in there, and I don't think I've made that. I've said that too before, that we got to be able to make sure they get their touches. But again, we're trying to call the best play that's for us in that particular time. We had called runs today. They weren't real great for us, and that's why we went with a little more RPOs with it.
Call a play where you hand them the ball. That's all you got to do. Well, we're going to figure that out. Is it really that hard to figure out? Is this really that complicated? You call a play where they run it and they should run the ball. Like Jalen Hurts, I understand, has what do you call it? He has the authority to change the play at the line of scrimmage if he sees something that he doesn't like, and I get that, and that's fine. But I think even Jalen Hurts would go, oh, I can just hand the ball to him. Okay, let's do that and see how that goes. I think the defense would be like, oh, thank you for doing that. Now I don't have to be out there for 40 minutes. Appreciate that. To me, that's kind of what it's going to come down to. It's just call the play. He did say it in a press conference earlier in the year where he's just like, you can always get the ball running by handing it to a running back. You think? Thanks, Nick. This is another worrisome thing, and it has to do with the unscripted stuff. John McMullen asked this question. I left a lot of it in here. When it comes to what they're going to do going forward about the unscripted stuff working so well. Why is that working so well when the scripted stuff, the stuff you're prepared to do, isn't working so much? Here's Nick Sirianni on that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, that's what we're talking about with. We want to be able to make some plays in the pocket, and there's a couple. There's too many of those. We're trying to get it down from whatever percentage it is. We wanted to get into that 35-40% area of unscripted plays. I'm definitely thinking tonight we were higher than that, and that's got to change. Go.
You're thinking that you were that. Definitely the stuff that was unscripted worked better. Translation, the stuff you didn't write up and prepare for worked better than the stuff that you're like, oh, hey, this will get him. Wait till that Bruce Arians. Wait till that Todd Bowles. See what's coming. Yeah, that stuff fell flat, and the stuff you didn't prepare worked well. So back to the drawing board. Whatever that little party was you had at the house where you didn't have pizza, but somebody ate your kids' Cheez-Its, that meeting did not go well. That was a bad meeting. That was not what you would call a productive, efficient meeting. And look, there's no sign for improvement. We've heard a lot of this before, and we haven't really seen the fruit bore from it yet. Does that make sense? No? Well, neither does the Eagles offense. And then there's the most damning thing. This comes to Jordan Mailata. Now, just tell me if you hear what I'm hearing. Jordan Mailata gets asked about the Buccaneers being ready for them as an offense, like ready to stop them as an offense. And it's a rather interesting take from Jordan Mailata that definitely got my wheels turning in my head, because it came down to a very damning word for anybody designing an offense, a game plan, or calling plays in the NFL. Jordan Mailata on the Bucs defense and how they attack the Eagles offense.
The slow starts and you pick up things offensively in the second half. Why do you think that's been happening the past couple games?
I mean, just like us, we prepare as well, and the other team as well. And I feel like they came out, they knew what we were doing straight away, and so we just had to adapt. And it took us a little bit of time to adapt, but like I said, they do their homework too, just like we do, and we have to learn to adapt, and we have to learn to adapt faster.
Did this freeze again? Did that freeze again? I can remember years ago. You have me now? Producer Jim, PJ, thank you. That's on me. I got to do a better job putting my cuts in a better position to get the hell off the screen. Anyway, I can remember years ago, Sunday night game, where Tiki Barber was back in studio, and they joked about it coming out of a break, where he was calling the plays that Andy Reid was calling. Like, he was calling the plays in the studio. This will be a run right. This will be a short pass to the left. He was calling the plays as they were taking place in the game. And then I remember a couple of years later, same thing happened with Chip Kelly. Then it actually came up again with Doug Peterson, especially in his first year as the head coach here. 6 games into an NFL career as a play caller and a head coach, and Nick Sirianni's having issues with this? What? 6 games. 6 games. What the hell? And Jordan Mailata just comes out and be like, oh, yeah, oh, man, they really had us scouted. You think? Because us, like as a fan base, has been watching this going, oh, they're just gonna keep passing. Okay. They're just gonna screen, they're just gonna keep screening, they're gonna screen. I didn't see as many screens in this game, so wow, that was dynamic change of game plan there. But throughout this game, if you weren't watching it going, yep, this is what they're going to do here, RPO. All right, well, let's take away. Let's make Jalen Hurts pass the ball. Let's make Jalen Hurts beat us. It is like I know people were all over Doug Peterson when he started. It was not this bad. There were some really dumb plays, like Carson Wentz, your lead blocker on a. It might have even been a toss play, which I think was the last toss play I've ever seen. But anyway, not like this, not this sustained level of ineptitude that we're watching under Nick Sirianni. Like really what we're watching with how obvious this is, it makes me feel like I'm sitting through that introductory press conference now while I'm watching football. I'm like, oh, there's that guy. Where all you got to do is go out there and answer some questions, man. Relax. All you got to do is go out there and call some run plays, man. Relax. You want to take pressure off your offensive line, off your running back, or excuse me, off your quarterback? Hand the ball to your running back. Have yourself a good time. And that's it. I'm just at a loss for words when it comes to this team. And I didn't think that would happen this quickly in the Nick Sirianni era. That's how bad it is right now for this team. One last one from Sirianni on trying to make corrections going forward.
Why only one running back carry for 25 plays?
Why running back? Yeah, again, some of them, same thing, are RPOs. Some of them, we look at screens as being able to get the running backs the ball as running back plays as well. Again, just the way the flow was going, we weren't getting much on the first one. Again, and then the RPO, we weren't getting much on it either. But either way, I mean, it didn't work. We were bad in the first half, and I put that on me first.
So it's on him again. All right. Are we going to figure this out together? Because the crowd is certainly trying to help out here. The crowd is trying to chant, run the football. We heard them do that a couple weeks ago. They're trying to, I don't know, show when you do run the football how much they approve of that. I just feel like it's almost getting to a point where you got to call the play from the stands. Like that's what it feels like right now. Because I look at Nick Sirianni and I see a guy that is just lost. I see a guy that is in over his head. I see a guy that doesn't know how to push this team even to the point of mediocrity right now. And Jalen Hurts, for as much as I'm rooting for him, as much as I love the guy, he's not good enough to make up for the mistakes by his head coach and play caller. And you can't have Nick Sirianni, even if he does devise some kind of great game plan, I don't think he's good enough to make up for mistakes that Jalen Hurts has made either. I mentioned the missed throws that he had early in this game, the third down throw that he had to Zach Ertz that he completely sailed over his head. Neither one of these guys is good enough to bail the other out. There has to be some kind of meeting in the middle where both are trying to help each other out, help a game plan, and actually put a full 4 quarters worth of football together. Instead of, oh, damn, we're down late in this game. Let's get going. Like they were against San Francisco 49ers, like they were against Kansas City Chiefs, down 5 points in the fourth quarter, like they were against Carolina Panthers. Oh, let's get it going late. Whatever that is, that's the unscripted stuff. I know that. Whatever they're doing in the unscripted stuff, how about making a note of that, doing a little bit more of it? Like handing the ball to Miles Sanders. That's not a bad idea. One thing I didn't even say, I'll say this. I barely saw him hand the ball to Kenny Gainwell. I don't even know if they did throughout this game. So infuriated by, again, one run play in the first half that I just completely miffed by it. But listening to him continuously talk about those RPOs, like, oh, yeah, well, we were called runs because they're RPOs. Those aren't called runs. They are RPOs. Like, there's that's different. You're literally giving the option to not run. Don't do that. That locker room check-in was brought to you by the great people at Rothman Orthopaedics. Oh, one last thing I do want to mention. Brandon Graham joined the post-game show yesterday that I do with Derek Gunn and Devin Caney on Jacob Media and 6abc.com. And Brandon said a couple of things that I thought were interesting. One thing he said was, this team's going to the playoffs. You keep on doubting, but this team's going to the playoffs. Please, Brandon Graham, prove me wrong. Prove us all wrong, because nobody has a team going to the playoffs right now. The other is this. I asked him about Jonathan Gannon's defense. And I said, Jonathan Gannon said earlier in the week he doesn't have a scheme. And then he kind of backtracked and said, oh, no, hold on. I have a scheme, right? But I said, what do you think his overall philosophy is? And Brandon Graham said it's basically to be ever-changing, adapting to who you're playing against. And there's something about that is worth being said. Something about that is worth acknowledging. Something about that is novel. Good. Adapt to who you're playing. That's what you have to do as a defensive coordinator in the NFL. You have to adapt to who you're playing. Cool. But what's your overall philosophy? Brandon Graham came out and just said that right now this team does not have the personnel to run Jonathan Gannon's scheme or give him the opportunity to have a successful defense. The personnel. In case you missed that, the personnel are his teammates. And although most of you, I'm sure, would go, oh, yeah, he's right. And he is, and I'd say that too, but you never hear a player acknowledge the personnel isn't good enough. What? Now, let's take it a step further. And we'll go back to why I'm actually talking about Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie today. Because they're responsible for the personnel. And I think what Brandon Graham is talking about is the linebacking core and how they're just not good enough. As much as you might root for those guys, but you want to see them progress and mature in this league, right? To the point of being like a Pro Bowl level type of person. It's come to the point where you just have to go out there and get a linebacker. And like when I talk to a guy like Jeremiah Trotter, for instance, and I've talked to him about like him being the last great running back. And I even told that to Alex Singleton when he was on with us a couple months ago. I said, are you aware of this thing that people are like, yeah, this team hasn't had a linebacker since Jeremiah Trotter? He's like, oh, God, no. Like, I was hoping, a little bit more motivation for him. You can be that guy. That's what I was crossing my fingers for. Because, again, he's an easy guy to root for. But, man, at some point, you got to look at it and go, I got to get me a stud. Because why wouldn't you want somebody that you could use as a third defensive tackle, like they did a lot of times with Jeremiah Trotter? Why wouldn't you want somebody that can also drop back in coverage? Why wouldn't you want somebody that can also stand there 5 yards deep from the line of scrimmage and step up and make a play to plug a hole to stop the run? Why wouldn't you want that? Seems like a pretty versatile thing. Have that coupled with somebody like Fletcher Cox in front of him and Javon Hargrave. That sounds like a pretty good defense. Maybe go after that. Maybe the philosophy here needs to change. Just a thought. That might help the versatility of your defense, and that goes to personnel. And I think that's what Brandon Graham was getting after when he was saying that the personnel just isn't good enough. Yeah, I agree. We all agree. I was just shocked that he actually said it, and shocked that it came from a player. Now let me tell you about the great people at Rothman Orthopaedics. Rothman Orthopaedics, fantastic. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman Orthopaedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. Yep, still fighting that cough, people. Hey, how about getting in on the action with BetQL? Make sure you take full advantage of every sports book that you like to play with by doing research and getting research from BetQL. You can download the BetQL app right now, the only app where you get to make the smart bets. The best bets computer model they use at BetQL scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports. And they give you the reasoning behind why you should place the bet. Their model covers everything from point spreads, over-unders, player props. Oh, if you don't want to use their model and prefer to do your own research, BetQL has all the necessary tools for your betting research needs. Everything from sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineups, injuries, breaking news, and they even have a leaderboard for you to track your own success. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store now or download BetQL. BetQL. Make sure you do all the research with BetQL. WinView, we had our man Josh Miller on yesterday to break it down for us. Yeah, I didn't do well. Me, specifically, didn't do well at all. Bad, as a matter of fact. But hopefully you did well. And if you're not using WinView, get in on the fun with WinView. It's the only game where fans can take on other fans and end the debate once and for all. Who knows the most about sports and who is the bigger sports fan? Have those family and friends who just don't shut up. I know everything. You know nothing. Well, tell them to put their money where their mouth is. See if they can walk the walk as well as talk the talk. Want to make family dinners and get-togethers with friends a little bit more interesting? Maybe you play a quarter of fantasy Monday Night Football, maybe Thursday Night Football like last night, maybe MLB playoffs, whatever it might be. You can do it all with the WinView app. So download the WinView app right now and have yourself a good time with a little skin in the game. Also, let's check out our good friends over there at Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Steak and Maine, nothing short of spectacular. Love Steak and Maine. The succulent 2-pound tomahawk steak paired with a delicious Pinot Noir from Cavada Cellars Wines. From his family to your table, right there with the tomahawk steak. They got freshly prepared sushi, prime cuts of meat, fresh seafood. They got the fun atmosphere of a bar. They got the great relaxing patio. They have the fine steakhouse. Steak and Maine is where it's at. Number one place for steaks in America, as voted by, well, me. And if you believe these other guys as well, the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel, that's pretty damn good as well. Steak and Maine in the heart of Northeast Maryland, voted number one place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. Check it out for yourself. Go to steakandmaine.com for more information. How about our friends at PHL? PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Make sure you're following all the stories, like the Flyers dropping the puck tonight against Vancouver. And follow that story there. That's where you go. All right, let's check in with our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. I can only imagine. I've been so distraught by the craptastic game that the Eagles had last night. I haven't even glanced over at y'all's people's comments yet. So I'm going to do that. Here we go. Kevin's leading it off today. Good morning, Farzy. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kevin. Wow. Dak. That's a pull, my friend. Happy Ken Flagel Friday. Hopefully you guys and the ladies this weekend have a little Ken Flagel yourself. You know what I'm saying? Good morning, April. Marc, what did you get? Like 2 hours of sleep? An hour? That's my latest espresso right there. Like that? That's a nice little cup, right? That was a gift. It's a big espresso cup, so I don't spill on the way. Actually, with my huge hands. This is an actual size cup. This is a souvenir cup from the Wells Fargo Center. Anyway, but I got like an hour, whatever. I'm sad. Cecil, I'm sad. I knew they were going to lose, but watching the flaws on this team really hurts. I agree with you. That does really hurt. I didn't expect them to win either. I told you yesterday, 33-17. I didn't expect them to win. But, like, can you find a different way to lose? I think that would help us see that you're growing as a football team. If you lost in different ways, like, oh, man, they just ran the football too much. I'm just using it as an example. That's never going to happen. Or their linebackers are just too good. No. I don't know. Just lose a different way. Show that we're growing. We're watching a growing team. Cecil says, pun intended, with the way that the losing hurts. T-Bro checking in. Taylor checking in. Sirianni is totally in over his head. April, I agree. Rob, this coaching staff is not it. Rob, I 1,000% agree with that. I get the feeling in watching these games to start out the season that it's like everybody's on a trial basis. Like everybody's just kind of like, hey, let's see how this goes. Like I don't feel like anyone's got conviction. I feel like everyone's just like, hey, this is cool while it lasts, however long it lasts. I'd love to see that change. And you know how that changes? By making changes. How novel. Let's see. Guapo. One Guapo. Had to work early, missed the game. Sorry to hear that. Did I miss anything good? No. Andrew. Boo! Eagles. Guapo, Eagles drafting linebackers. You need a drug test. Speaking of drug tests, Mally hit me up during the game last night on Twitter and just said, you see why I smoke pot? And I said, good for you, Mally. Do what you got to do, buddy. At this point, it's medicinal. When Ertz made the first catch and you heard him yell, it felt like classic Ertz. Rob, it definitely did. It was great to see. Look, one thing I was hoping would happen is what I'm sure everyone was hoping would happen. Would be that they actually... So, you saw Zach Ertz take advantage of the extra playing time, extra snaps that he'd be getting, and not having another tight end to be targeted like Dallas Goedert. Zach Ertz did exactly what he needed to do. Imagine if Zach Ertz would have had a ball put on him from Jalen Hurts for that 1 3rd down. That would have been epic, and they would have kept that going. Put Trey out there now. Trey and John Runyon, as a matter of fact. Coach is at RJ. What's up, RJ? Haven't seen you before. This coach is absolutely insane, like the actual definition of insane. Nick is crazy. I find no way to disagree with that. What's the definition of insanity by Albert Einstein? Keep doing the same thing, expect something different. Cecil, Mark, it's fine. Nick Sirianni was wearing a Dr. J. Scherzy hoodie. He's cool. It's fine. I can't really say that. Inside the Birds chiming in saying big 10 days ahead. That is true. RJ saying we will lose the next game. We are so one-dimensional, it's wild. You know what's crazy? I don't believe that the Eagles are one-dimensional. I believe that they choose to be one-dimensional. Like, you're not, like, I can't go back to this enough. Miles Sanders is a very good running back. I really wish one day he'll get the opportunity to have the stats that other running backs around the NFL have. Even, like, mediocre running backs get the opportunity to put up numbers. I'm really hoping one day he gets that opportunity to put up numbers. I don't see this coaching staff giving him that opportunity. If he really is a playmaker, if you really think giving him the football would help, give him the ball. It certainly helped in the second half. The second half, the Eagles had more rushing yards in that second half than the Buccaneers allow on average per game. 45 is what they average per game. And you know what, 70 in the second half? Come on. Lose next game, I got that already. Sean's checking in. Nick is like the last 3 outs. Nick, the last 3 and outs for Eagles coaches with not running the ball, but without their success or awareness. That's what he's like. So far, the Eagles organization is a major factor. They never change. And that's why I go back to that article in The Athletic. I can't tell you, like, when I saw them run the ball, was it 2 carries in the first half against the Cowboys? The first thought I had was, oh, this is coming from up top. This is coming from Jeffrey Lurie. And then I saw it again and again. It's definitely coming from Jeffrey Lurie. That's the decree that has come down from ownership. This is the way we play. Let's find a new way to play. One that's, I don't know, a little more conducive to helping the running game as much as helping the passing game. And see how that goes for you. Damn it, Nick Sirianni, you're turning me into a run-the-pass guy. Things aren't going to change till Howie's gone. I mean, look, if Nick Sirianni is an utter failure, then you're talking about cleaning house. And that's a dangerous thing. Because if you fire a Super Bowl winning coach and then you hire Nick Sirianni, who, let's just say, gives up the play calls in the next couple of weeks, and then this team continues to suck, and then you have 3 first-round picks, are you really going to say, hey, Howie, rebuild this thing after you fire the head coach too? That's insane, right? And if you do bring in somebody else, you're not going to bring another upstart in. That'd be ridiculous. You're going to bring in somebody with some clout, somebody with some experience. Wouldn't it be funny if they fired Howie and brought Doug back? That'd be hilarious. Anyway, people very infuriated. Fugly loss. Mac, I like it. Eagles organization, also linebackers, never important to them. It's so frustrating, very frustrating. I knew today was going to be good. Laugh out loud. I went to bed at 1. Post-game show was still going. Thank you. Thank you, April. JD, what's up? No audio, Fars. There we go. Can't hear you. Audio. Audio. I thought he just walked away. Farzi's army was here to let you know. Thank you, JD. Much appreciated. Marc, hold me. I'm a sad panda. Sorry, Nate. I will hold you, though. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll just sit at City Hall and I'll just, like, put my arms out like that and just have Eagles fans hug me for comfort. Let's see. PJ, no sound again. Mark, did that bit. It hurts Mr. Right and Mr. Right now. James, you're right. I did do that bit with Jalen Hurts, whether or not he's Mr. Right or Mr. Right now. And I still think he's Mr. Right now. Like, I like Jalen Hurts. I'd love for him to stick around here for 10 more years and all that. He's got to earn that. Yeah, I know the person I'm rooting for. I just want to see the quarterback. What's the line from Elaine Vigneault? Again, hey, happy Flyer season, everybody. Elaine Vigneault about Jake Voracek last year, and who else was it? Was it Konechny? Forget who the second guy was, but it was definitely Jake Voracek. And he said, "I love Jake the person. I need more from Jake the hockey player." What a great way to put that. I love Jalen Hurts the person. I need more from Jalen Hurts the quarterback. And I need his head coach to help him out. That'd be nice too. T-Bro, I know why Lane Johnson quit. Or I know why Lane Johnson's out. He just quit. I like that. T-Bro, I stepped on the line for you. Sorry. Well, all right. Thanks very much, everybody. Appreciate you guys chiming in on the social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Let's roll on in. Oh boy, to our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. Our morning rush today comes courtesy of the officials in this game. This is the headline. Let me just say this real quick. The Eagles did not lose because of bad officiating. I'm not saying that's why. However, if you're like me, I'm going to run through a couple of things. When you watch an NFL game, you like to know that the officials are on the up and up, that the officials know what they're doing, that a good game is being called, if not just for sportsmanship and NFL football fandom alone. Eagles didn't lose because of the atrocious officiating throughout this game. They didn't lose because of it. But I will say it was pretty terrible. And if you go to the interception that was overturned somehow magically. Was that in the first quarter? I know it was in the first half. You see the interception get overturned, and the Eagles have an opportunity to take the football at midfield, their own 49-yard line. I think it officially would have been with the return by Marcus Epps. Instead, they go to the replay. Ruling on the field was an interception. And after, I think it was 9 minutes of real time, they decide that the disputed evidence that they were disputing was indisputable, and they overturn the call. How can you come out of that? For a couple of things here. A couple of reasons. How do you come out of that after that debate for 9 minutes and go, oh, well, I mean, it's not disputable. What the hell were you doing then for 9 minutes? You were disputing. Literally the reason you can't overturn that. Because it's very disputable. And you're going to overturn the call on the field? And then Mike Pereira, who I like, by the way. I'm sorry. I got to go props again here, folks. I got to go props again. Mike Pereira. There's no air in this ball. Mike Pereira. He says, now, if you see there, the ball is between his hands, so I think it touches the ground. As opposed to, what, catching a football like this? Like, what? And by rule, the ball can touch the ground as long as the player doesn't use the ground to secure the football. So, in other words, if he would have, are you getting this? Is this in the shot? No, not really. If my hand is the ground, if he would have, done that, you're using the ground. You're using the ground to secure the football. The fact that he had his fingers under the ball means he didn't use the ground to secure the football. Anytime you need a demonstration, you come to me, folks. That's who to come to. So that is just bonkers that got overturned for so many reasons. One, it wasn't a drop. It wasn't an incompletion. It was an interception. And the other, they disputed it for 10 minutes and went, oh, it's indisputable. Yeah, it's overturned. Stupid. The other thing is, what the hell is pass interference? That's the other thing I want to look at in this game. Jalen Reagor, Quez Watkins, whoever you want to talk about, they were interfered with in this particular game. How the hell how those flags weren't called is wild to me. One play, Jalen Reagor has a guy on his back. Another play, Quez Watkins has the ball in the back of the end zone. Defensive back literally does the definition of the pass interference. Folks, I don't like to brag about my NFL. Folks, I don't like to brag about my football career, okay? Because I sucked, all right? My 1 year of freshman football at Archbishop Wood High School, I sucked, right? But I learned a couple of things. One, if you put your hands up in the air facing a receiver and you run into them, that is the definition at any level of football of pass interference. That's exactly what happened in this game with Quez Watkins in the back of the end zone, right before Jalen Hurts skittered into the end zone. Now, they ended up not costing him anything because they got the touchdown, and I think it was the next play. Jalen Hurts ran it in. But how that wasn't pass interference to begin with is just mind-numbing to me. No consistency. And I'll go back to this, and I said it at the start of the show, Jannard Avery's taunting call. Shut up, Jannard Avery. Just not the place to say anything. But they had been trash-talking the whole game. And you throw the flag when the Buccaneers are driving for a game-icing drive? Seems really weak. Really weak. Again, the Eagles did not lose this game because of officiating. However, as someone who's a fan of football, if I'm watching that, that makes me frustrated. If I'm watching any game, and I think we all watch the NFL more than we watch maybe any other league. If you're watching any game in the NFL, you're going, they're not calling it like that. What is that? It was hard to watch. It was hard to watch Nick Sirianni's awful game plan. It was hard to watch an inaccurate Jalen Hurts early in this game. It was hard to watch, again, not running the football, totally ignoring that until it was too late. And it was just tough to watch the way that this game was called. And I would say both sides, but I can't really think of too many times that the Buccaneers got screwed the way the Eagles did in this game. The Eagles didn't lose because of the officiating, but it was just something worth pointing out. Folks, it's a huge 10 days for the Eagles and Nick Sirianni and what comes out of this. Huge 10 days. The Nick Sirianni that's going to come out on the other side of this better be a lot better than Nick Sirianni that went into these 10 days. If you're out of plays by week 6, that's trouble. That's trouble. We'll see how it goes here. Hey, Mally's in. Mally. Good to see you, bud. Excuse me. No, that cough wasn't because of what you like to do in recreational time, Mally. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. This was a tough one to do today because that game was so infuriating. And the biggest thing is that it goes well beyond the coach. This is the philosophy of your football team. This is the philosophy of the owner. Instead of taking the cues and the personality of the head coach, I believe this football team has taken the cues and the personality of the front office, which I don't think is going to bode well for any ounce of a successful season. I was crossing my fingers that they compete for the division, and now it doesn't even think, I don't know, that ain't happening. So good times. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope you guys watch the Flyers tonight. I hope you guys watch the Flyers and enjoy them. I hope you guys can watch an exciting preseason basketball game. I hope when we reconvene Monday morning, we'll have something nice to talk about. Let's cross our fingers for that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Jim Hyden produced the program, did a phenomenal job doing so. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzetta. Have a great day and a great weekend, everybody. I'm going to a pumpkin patch. It's up there around Allentown with Lil Toots and a bunch of my cousins. I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be my happy thought. Oh, my other cousin's coming down tonight. We're going to get drunk. So that's happening too. That'll be fun. Have a great day, everybody. Here from the Steven Singer Studios, I'm Marc Farzetta. Have a great weekend. See ya.